Hey guys, my name is RyanCentral and welcome to HitScan. Before we get started in this video, I know that we've put that there's an Agent 15 tease in this video. There is, but I just want to preface this and say it's nothing major. We don't get to see what they look like, their abilities and stuff. It's quite small stuff, but it is starting to get into that point where we could be seeing more data mine stuff come out. So this is the first bit of information we have on the character, a little bit of speculation here or there too, so I don't want to clickbait you into thinking that this is some huge amount of information. But we do have more news to talk about today. The night market's live. We just did an Ask Valorant go out, and there's also some really important and personal stuff that I want to touch on towards the end of this video to kind of share my story, the situation that a lot of esports talent is currently in, especially in Europe, and just sort of get that information out there, get people clued up, and maybe even if there's people from Riot watching this, kind of telling my story and maybe something can be fixed. But we'll talk about that at the end of the video. If you're not interested in that, you can skip after we get to that point. But let's start with the main thing. Night market is back. It was really cool to see. I don't know, before people ask, if this is the big tease that Preeti and Sean had in our previous video. This could certainly be one of them. People wanted to have the night market back and they wanted it to be better, and that's what it should be. So without further ado, let's see what I got in mind. Already from the icons, it's not looking inspiring. I guess we'll go through the smaller ones first. Lux Spectre, I'm pretty sure I got that in my last one. Aristocrat Bulldog, I'm not too upset about at all. It's my judge. Again, we kind of rated it lower than our tier list video, but let's not talk about that. Yeah, I'm just getting all of the Lux stuff, so what are the purples? Prime Vandal's pretty good. I mean, lots of people really like the Prime Vandal, so honestly, I'm kind of bored of the Elder Flame. I was going to pick up, obviously, the Glitch Pop Vandal, which I haven't done yet, and it's still in store for another week or until the next patch, I think. So if you haven't got that yet, this isn't an ad or anything, but if you haven't got that yet, be sure to pick it up because I wanted to give people prior warning, because I know how annoying it is when you want a skin set and you have to wait for it to come into rotation on these bottom skins, for example. Ooh, the Prison Vandal looks nice. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about how the night market has anything to do with Agent 15. So this is the image that came out with the latest night market, and I want to compare that to the picture that came out from the first night market before Christmas. Look at the locations of where these night markets are. For the old one, it was in Japan. Then we got Yoru. This one, it's in Ghana. So it's a good tease to know that this could be the origins and the location, the nationality of Agent 15. But not only that, you have some infographics on the right hand side, and this came from Senprel with the help of Not to Disturb and Ahsoka on a Discord server to translate this, so big shout out to them. I'll link this picture and the Twitter bio in the description. But the typography says, the King of the Adinkra symbols, a symbol for authority, leadership and charisma. The symbols are also qualities associated with the King's Aninkrakahini. Sorry if I terribly pronounced that. I'll put it on screen so you kind of see what it's meant to say. And it's the inspiration for the design of the other symbols. So you could speculate that it's a controller. I know the devs have said that we're not getting a duelist anytime soon, so it would be cool to get like an IGL kind of character based off of a controller that can compete with Brimstone's more slow, passive, execute heavy style, I suppose, and then Omen's more aggressive style with the flash, the teleports, all of the stuff you can do there. So having a controller that's a bit more focused around potential in-game leader roles, you know, captaining the team, considering this is a king of authority, leadership, and charisma, they're all, you know, traits, I suppose, that a good IGL needs in the esports scene. So we had Yoru for the lurker players, and we might have an agent come in for the IGLs, which would be super cool. Like I said at the start of the video, this is something that isn't super major. It doesn't tell us all that much. It just tells us that the character's from Ghana. But this is now going to get to a point, I think especially from the next patch, where data mine stuff is going to start to come through from a lot of content creators, Valor leaks, all that kind of stuff. So be sure to keep an eye out for those kind of videos as they come along. We'll keep you updated if we hear anything about a potential Ghanaian IGL controller character, perhaps. I'm super excited about that, but we have to wait and see. Won't be too long now, only a couple of weeks, so we'll keep an eye on that. Now we'll talk about Ask Valorant. This is a fairly small one, to be honest, but I still think that there's a lot of questions in these Ask Valorants that are certainly worth highlighting. And honestly, it's kind of short too, so we can gloss over this quickly without wasting too much time. The first question is that last year you mentioned looking into agent-specific keybinds. Do you have an update? The devs say we have no specific timing. It's not dropped off the long list of priorities for the year, and hope to find a version for around episode 3. I'm surprised it's taking that long for people to set up, but I guess there's a lot of background things that they have to fix or change if this has been the archetype backbone foundations of the game for so long. I don't know. I'm just surprised it's taken until episode 3 to put in an update like this, but maybe it sounds more complicated than we might be letting on. There is also a question about extending the period of the match remake vote. It is incredibly short. At the start of a game with so many DCs, you only have like a round to actually reset the lobby to something that's more fair, so isn't really an awful lot of time, especially when people get pissy and quit out very early on. But the devs say, we recognize there's some problems with the remake system. Looking at improvements, we were relatively strict in our initial approach to ensure competitive integrity and avoid any matchmaking abuse, but this has limited the feature's usefulness. Extending the available window, automating a remake function in particular, fast AFK cases, creating clarity on when a remake is being initiated versus a surrender, because the systems are very much identical, and all of these other things that they're considering. We want to maintain competitive integrity as our number one priority, so our approach will reflect that. Should have some changes coming out soon and give an update when we can. So yeah, kind of a gloss over, but not too much information to go on, but it is an area that can get fixed and should increase a little bit of the quality of life of Valorant, because when this happens, it just ruins a game. Your next 40-45 minutes of game are going to be living hell, or half an hour. It could be down really quick, but you get my point. It's just a waste of time when that kind of thing happens. And finally, would you consider reducing the agent selection time for Spike Rush? A short mode feels like it should have a short start time. They said that we saw this discussion bubble up in some places. We're happy with player satisfaction and playtime for Spike Rush, so we're going to leave the agent select time as it is for now. A shorter agent select window might result in significant more dodges and actually increase the length of the mode for all of you. So it's interesting that they sort of brought that up, but like, I don't think anybody was super passionate about decreasing the queue time or the agent select time for Spike Rush, sorry. So it's not really a major question, but I wanted to add it nonetheless because, yeah, there's not too much to really go over here, and so it's some quite good stuff. Lastly, some other stuff that was mentioned from Nick Wu, who is one of the devs and an ex League of Legends pro, I think, from the LCS, pointed out the use of the Bucky recently, because it has been used a lot more in the pro scene. Shotguns are just abnormally strong, and after all of the stuff with Valorant Challengers Tour, we have the North American and Europe region finishing, and we did see quite a lot of Bucky. In fact, some teams like Fnatic, or then Summon FC, using 5 Buckies on a force buy round, or just on a cheaper round for them. It was in response to what Drone said from TSM, saying that the right click is absolutely busted, gave a few examples, and Nick Wu said it looks frustrating, they're looking into it, but don't have anything concrete to share for a bit. So there's no Bucky nerfs coming at the moment. I don't know where people got this idea from, but that's generally what it says, and we could definitely be seeing some nerfs to the shotguns, because both the Bucky and the Judge are fairly potent in what they do, but I don't think they should be dropped down to a point where they're kind of useless, you know? Like, that's the point of these guns, to be really frustrating to play against, so if you take away some of the strength, it's just not going to be a good gun to use at the point. But the right click is certainly something that could be changed, because it's a little bit too good, so just a little bit of a nerf to bring it down to par, I think would be a really good thing. So that's the end of the video, at least the end of the news. If you want to click off this video at this point, you're more than welcome to, but I would appreciate if you at least listened and sat around to what I'm about to talk about, because I find it pretty important, and it matters a lot to me, so the support would be welcomed. And if there's anybody from Riot watching this, if you could send it to the right parties to discuss this, that would be great. But the short TLDR answer for this is, for those that don't know, I do a lot of Valorant casting. I do a lot of esports stuff. I got to cast some really big events such as First Strike in North America, and I feel like I'm working my way up the ladder to cast some of the bigger events in this game, which is cool as a Valorant content creator, right? I can sort of do what, let's say, Courage does for Fortnite, where he was a YouTuber streamer, but also would cast some stuff with Dr. Lupo. Not necessarily saying I'm on the same level, but that's the kind of thing that is really cool about what I'm doing. But as of right now, I am unable to cast any Valorant at all. The answer is twofold, and it's multifaceted as to why this is, but the main reason is region locking. This basically means that me, as a Brit from Europe, can only cast the European region of Valorant. I can't cast Southeast Asia. I can't cast Brazil. Bear in mind that this is all online anyway, so it's just time zones that would screw me over in some cases. But most importantly, I can't cast North America, which is a problem considering that 80% of the work that I did in 2020 was in North America. And I got to do some really big stuff. You know, the Nerd Street Gamers Winter Championships, I had teams like Sentinels and Envy in. First Strike, for example, casting TSM, Cloud9, those kind of teams. I was doing like the tier 1 events in North America, and it was cool because I felt I was working my way up. In Europe, because I've seen it's very different, it's much smaller, they are only employing 5 people, right? And so the opportunities over here are very slim, and even then you've got people like Pansy, Hypoc, and Mitch, who are really, really, really good casters. The competition is fierce and the opportunities are low over here. So my expectations of doing stuff in Europe, at least for right now, are pretty slim, even though I consider myself an expert on the European scene, and I would prefer to cast Europe if I had the option. Because of region lock, I can only cast Europe, and according to Banks, who is another caster, he was told by the tournament organizer for Europe for this year that there are no opportunities coming up for this year. At least that they're set with their talent for the rest of 2021 is what they said. And so this is super unfortunate. I don't know how much it impacts me considering this email wasn't said to me. It might be just to Banks that they're saying that. Maybe there's a chance in the future. At least that's what I'm hopeful for. But the long short of it is I am region locked to Europe. I can't do anywhere else in the world with casting Valorant. But the European region has effectively turned around and said, we are not providing any more opportunities, at least at face level for now. Maybe they open the doors in the future, but from the looks of it, I won't be able to cast Valorant for a year, just flat out. There will be smaller events in between, don't get me wrong, I could cast because it's just the Riot stuff that's region locked. However, these are few and far between, and in Europe especially, because the budget's so low, in short, the rates that I charge would be too high and I wouldn't be able to do them. I'd have to undercut, which is a really unprofessional thing to do in order to do them, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to take opportunities, smaller opportunities, from other people just for the sake of getting chances, right? And so this whole situation is kind of screwed. I've basically been forced into casting a region that doesn't want any more casters. And this doesn't just affect me, this affects, you know, half a dozen to a dozen other talent within the European region that has been up and coming. People like Vince from Counter-Strike, Tom Biz, friend of mine Sam. There's a lot of people that this negatively affects, including myself, and so I feel that it would be a disservice to myself and my audience if I didn't kind of go, hey, this is kind of sucky and I don't think it should be like this. So I wanted to kind of raise the position that I'm in, and I know there are people that sometimes from Riot watch this kind of thing. I'd love to at least just have this bit of the video sent to them and kind of go, hey, this is a situation that I'm in as a Valorant content creator that's pretty big on the game at this point, right? And as somebody that's done a lot of stuff in Valorant and grinded my way up from square one, it kind of sucks to have all of the opportunities just taken away from me from two very different conflicting views, where clearly one side of Riot wants people to focus on talent within their regions, but Europe is kind of like, no, we're good for now, you know, and that sucks. I'm hopeful that the region lock would be rescinded and I can then start doing events in North America again, which would be great. Or that the European team decide that they're maybe going to give opportunities to other people coming into the future. But as of right now, I've gone from working a good amount in January to absolutely nothing in February. I don't have anything lined up. And it's kind of concerning and really upsetting. Genuinely, I've been almost heartbroken from this kind of thing. I'm sorry if this is a bit long and a bit ranty, but sorry, there's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to say, and it's genuinely upsetting because since the game came out, I've wanted to make content on this. I've casted it since the closed beta, and I feel like if this was something against me particularly, then I can sort of accept that, but I feel like just I got super unlucky with the position that I'm in. And I kind of wanted to share that. Again, I'm not looking to get angry at Riot. I kind of understand the region locking perspective to an extent, but having that and then Europe kind of go, we don't want to give opportunities to anybody else. Again, that could just be false. Maybe they get more people on in the future, but I just wanted to kind of bring up that perspective, if I'm honest. Sorry if I've just kind of gone low energy now, but genuinely, it sucks. You know, I think people know how much I care to do this kind of thing, and I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying to make, you know, esports content, and obviously HitScan's not going anywhere, so I got that. I'm really privileged to have that, but I would love to keep casting this game because genuinely it's a huge passion of mine, and I would love to continue it. But that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate you listening and hearing me out. If you do have any questions about the situation, just let me ask in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. But again, I would appreciate it sort of hearing me out and, you know, being in my corner, which I know a lot of you are. So thanks very much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you then.